We're going to begin the program. I want to thank everybody for coming here today. Today's a special week in Everett Public Schools and really every school across the nation. This is Teacher Appreciation Week. Myself as a vice principal, Mr. Norman the principal. We greatly appreciate the work that the teachers do in the classroom and out of the classroom. I don't think we have a more dedicated staff. So I think this being the first Future Teachers Signing Day that the Commissioner of Education in Massachusetts has asked that we begin. This room has had many events for signing days for Division I athletes. We've had tremendous success, obviously, on the fields, the athletic fields in Everett. But just as great, if not better, is the success we've had in the classroom and the accomplishments of our students in and out of the classroom. And these fine students here, our 7 students here, give me much hope in the future. Because my really foundation for education is, I always like to think the future of America is in the classroom, and the best way to positively impact that future is through helping those students who are in the classroom. So seeing these fine students here gives me much hope. And I know we have Mr. Bailey here, who is a social studies teacher, and he'll appreciate a quote of President John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy spoke about the future, and he said, "Children are the world's most valuable resource and its best hope for the future." Here at Everett, like I said, we have the best. And I did a quick count today, just at the high school. I think we have well over 3 dozen teachers who graduated from Everett High School or at Everett Public Schools. That gives me much pride, being born in Everett, to think that the work we do here is so tremendous and so great. That teachers want to come back here and be a part of the great success we've had. So I know we have Mr. Bailey, you're an alumni of Everett High. Mr. O, you also. Ms. Fallon? Malden, right? Medford. But we've had many, so thank you all for being here today. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Mr. Shaw at Central Administration, who's done tremendous work and is always supporting us, supporting the students, and all the work we're doing here. So, Mr. Shaw, thank you for being here today.
Also a graduate of Everett.
Also, so we've got many graduates of Everett High School.
Long time ago.
And I just did your bio, Mr. Shaw. I should have known that. So I'd like to introduce someone who is a good friend of mine, who I think we started maybe at the same time or a couple of years after me. I started in 2007. I was a late entry into education. I worked for Governor Romney. I worked at the state. I worked in the private sector. And around 2007, I came to Everett High School, which I thought would be a brief stop. My father always said, and my father, who was an Everett graduate as well as my mother, always said that I should get involved in education. And I gave it a shot in 2007. It's been wonderful because I've made a lot of great friends. And Mr. Bailey, who I think is a favorite of the students of Everett High School. I know every time he gets up to speak, it's like Elvis Presley's walking out on the stage. He's going to come up and give a couple of comments and a couple of words about what it means to be a teacher, especially as a graduate of Everett High School. So Mr. Bailey, if you could come up here, please.
Sorry, I'm still walking.
So good afternoon, everyone. This is me speaking in front of an audience. You know, we do this on a daily basis. This is, our audience every day, but not a fan of the spotlight whatsoever. So this is going to be short and sweet. Couldn't be more honored to ask to speak today for these young men and women who are already pledging at such a young age to dedicate their lives to working with children. Whether it's adolescents or young kids, it's an admirable profession, and Everett has such a rich tradition of education, as Mr. Barrett pointed out. So many in the audience, either Everett graduates themselves, myself being, I'm not going to put anyone on the spot, but being educated by at least 2 people that are in the audience today, and I can say that Everett has that strong, rich tradition of providing great educators. And looking at these young men and women, many of them whom I've had in class, for multiple years, they are going to do very well. And the one bit of advice that I can offer you with education is you go into it because you love working with kids. And with education, I love my job. I know Mr. O loves his job. I know Ms. Samani loves her job. And when you love your job, you never work a day in your life, as the old cliche goes. And without a doubt, you're going into the right profession. If you love working with kids, if you love your subject matter, if you're passionate about it, if you make it matter to the kids, then it makes all the difference for you, it matters to you. So thank you for asking me to speak today. I wish you guys the best of luck. Congratulations on your signing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. You said it right. The teachers of Everett Public Schools come in every day with such passion for the students, and I can't say it enough, especially during Teachers Appreciation Week, that we're blessed to have them in the classrooms. And the commissioner, and I'm not going to read his letter, this is the first type of an event. We're going to continue it on an annual basis. I think we're about a dozen schools that chose to answer the challenge of the commissioner to do this. And he spoke about how student athletes commit to play a sport at a specific college, and they have that sign-in day. And he wanted to recognize seniors who are choosing to pursue a career in education, worthy of celebration a career in education is, because there is no better impact that you can have on the life of a child. And I know the educators we have in the audience have impacted many students, and many students continue to come back and speak to the great opportunities they had to be in their classrooms to make a positive impact. At this time, we're going to go through a slideshow. This is the first time we're going to do this, so bear with us. I hope it works well. And we're going to have the students come up and to go through their slides, speak a little about themselves, similar to like we do at the Division I sign-in day, and talk a little about why they've chosen a path of education. And the first student that we're going to have up is Stephanie Carbello Morales. Right in there, right? Oh, it's Stephanie. Here you go.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today I want to speak just a little bit and tell you about my story, because I'm from El Salvador. So I want to be a teacher because I want to help other people and teach them to learn about new language or new things in life. I want to inspire them to be wherever they want to be in life, like an astronaut or a teacher just like me. Ever since I came here, all teachers have treated me well. That's one thing I will always do, treat people like they want to be treated. When I was in El Salvador, I used to teach kids in church. I was doing my best to teach them about God. One thing was that I have 25 kids in my class, and they were excited to learn new things every Saturday. They were always happy, and I was happy to be with them. When I took my future teachers class in the high school, I was so excited because I could help other people so they would understand the subject of the class. My experience as a teacher in El Salvador made me decide to become a teacher in the future. My favorite teachers in high school are Miss Bob and Mr. Lay. They were the inspiration to become a teacher because they motivate me and they make me feel comfortable in their class. Sometimes they will explain things in my language, and that made me understand the subject better. Some of my future plans are to be kind as a teacher, make them feel comfortable in class. Another plan is to inspire them to see that anything is possible if you follow your dreams to become anything in life. One quote that I like to think of is, "If you can dream it, you can do it," by Walt Disney. Another quote that I like to think is, "Push harder than yesterday if you want to be different tomorrow." This quote inspired me to make myself work harder every day. Thank you.
Stephanie, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. The next student is Diana Kizilowski.
Good evening. The reason for me being a teacher is just because, so I work with kids and helping them every day and just seeing like their emotion when they finally understand something and when they're learning how to do it and not really knowing how to do it, but they finally get it. It brings me joy in knowing that I'm able to help someone and they understand something. My two inspirations for teachers, one of them is Mr. Bailey and another one is Miss Ingersoll. And they really inspire me because I can see every day that I have them that they're really passionate about their job and that they care for the students, not only in school, but also like they care about our outside of school lives and they always make sure we're okay and they just really care about everybody on a personal level.
Diana, thank you. Oscar Lopez Escobar, I think his throat was hurting him, so he couldn't speak today. He did tell me that he wants to be a gym teacher, and I know that's one of his favorite classes. I just actually was discussing his work in gym. He's looking to attend, as you can see up there, Bunker Hill Community College at UMass. As I said, physical education is what he'd like to focus on. He enjoys working with little students, little kids. He works at James Hook and Company. I know the owners of James Hook and Company, and I know if you're working there, you must be really good at what you do. So that's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. His hobbies, he loves soccer. I know that definitely, and baseball. And I'm not surprised, a lot of people's favorite teacher is Mr. Messina, and his favorite teacher is Mr. Messina. So Oscar Lopez, if everybody can give a round of applause. Samantha Matos, if you could just come up and say a couple of words about why you've chosen to sign on as an educator.
Hi everyone. I think for me, I decided to be an educator because I realized how much I enjoy working with kids. I've been a babysitter, and my mom's a babysitter too, so I've been involved with kids all along. I've been helping around the church too, and they have the youth ministry, and I love working with them. It makes my day better. Like that little passion that they have, the little sparkle in their eyes when they're passionate about something. For me to be able to grant them like their desires of dream about something, you know, like make them learn about what they want to be in the future. I think there's no better job. So my favorite teacher is Miss Toomey. She's been helping me for 4 years now, and I think she knows me the most. She was a big, huge person to look forward to, and she's been like there for me, even when I thought, oh, maybe it's too hard to do this, and she was like, oh, it's okay, we can figure it out together. So she's been there, as all teachers do, and I think I appreciate most of all Ever High because most of the teachers here, they're really passionate about what they do, and they really are there for you, and that's a huge inspiration on me to do as good as they do. So that's why. Thank you.
Samantha, thank you so much for those nice words. The next student is Danielle Molina Villalobos.
Hi everyone, my name's Danielle Molina Villalobos, and my journey with education kind of starts, I mean, when you start in kindergarten, obviously, but but I remember specifically I started out as an ELL student in Malden, and you kind of are always like, I'm never going to be able to like get out of this like box. You're like kind of feel trapped. And I remember I had this one teacher at Malden. She would always tell me like, hey, like you can do it. Like you just have to kind of like believe in yourself and you have to push yourself. And she would stay after school every single day with me. And I'd be like, I can't do it. Like I just can't. And she would stay and she'd be like, you can do it. And I remember that was in the 5th grade and coming, you know, to, then I moved to Lafayette and there was a really big transition in my life where my mom, she started fostering these kids. She started, like, everything kind of happened all at once. And I had, like, I don't know, it was really strange, but I had, like, this click in my mind where I was like, I don't know. Like, I started taking care of, like, the kids with my mom. And I had, like, teachers like Mr. Cheever, Miss McLaughlin, Mr. Erickson at Lafayette. And they really, like, guided me to this path. And I remember this one time after school, I was talking with one of my teachers, Mr. Cheever, and he was like, you'll come back one day. I'm like, I know you, like, you're gonna wanna be a teacher. Like, I see it in you. And like, that always kind of stuck with me, and I was like, you're kind of crazy for that, but like, sure, whatever. And then I remember being in like Mr. Bailey's class, and like, I was like, I really like love this. I love like being in this classroom and being in this environment and like seeing all the students participate and like genuinely want to learn. And then, you know, it really hit me like last year where I was like, I have to pick a career. And like, I went back to like those words that Mr. Cheever said to me. And I was like, yeah, like I really could see myself doing that for the rest of my life. And so with my whole entire background, with coming from a place where I felt like I was always going to be trapped in this box, to now being able to give back. And I want to help those kids. I want to help kids that were just like me at the start of my journey, that were stuck in a box, that thought that they weren't going to be able to get out of that. And I mean, if you look at me now, I'm in National Honor Society, I'm the captain of my track team, I'm in student council. I feel like I've done so much from there to now where I want to be able to do that for another person just like me. And yeah, that's why I want to be a teacher at least. So thank you.
Kaylee Nairn, I still would think that maybe you should be an actress after the work you did at the Allied Health skit a couple of weeks ago. But I'm happy to hear her come up and speak about her desire to be an educator. She discussed this a couple of weeks ago, and it really inspired me as an administrator. So, Kaylee, thank you. I'll just click right there.
Alrighty. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to see everyone here. I want to tell you guys about my background and how my education was when I was younger. I grew up on an IEP, which is a learning disability program that helps you take on education with your learning disability. So it helps you. I felt as though it was very hard for me to learn and concentrate, and from being in the Whittier, I was growing, and then I went to Lafayette and I excelled. I became a scholar, I would say. I was very dedicated to my work, and I was so ready to learn for the next day, because education and knowledge makes me excited to come to school. It's something that I didn't know before and that I do know now. I didn't really know I was going to be a teacher until recently. I was always strung up in the health field, which is an amazing field, and I kept pushing myself to go into the health field, but I never really liked it. I always knew something else drew me closer, and that was education. I had my internship at the preschools at the Webster School, and every single day I was there, I fell in love. The children made me enjoy life itself. They'd come to school and they wouldn't know, like I didn't know. They wouldn't know anything. They didn't have much knowledge. And through the time I was there, they kept excelling and they kept wanting to learn. which is something that I find so endearing. So I decided that I wanted to be an elementary school teacher and focus on grades 1 through 3. And while studying at Framingham State, I will be playing softball. And my favorite teacher that has made me push for education is Mr. Bailey. I really find his teaching style something that works, that makes me want to go to his class and learn. I had no clue about anything about history, none of it. I came to his class and now I know all about presidencies running, wars that I really just didn't know about, and I find that a miracle because ask my family, I wouldn't know any presidents, but now I know Kennedy because of you. I'm really excited for everyone here to excel and grow in your programs and be a teacher and help educate others.
Kaylee, thank you. Now I understand why all the smirks from the students when I mentioned John F. Kennedy, Mr. Bailey. And it's just a fun little between me and Mr. Bailey. I love JFK, and Mr. Bailey might think otherwise on JFK. So,
My own different opinion.
so we've been discussing this for about 13 years now. Last but certainly not least is Dennis Ryan. Dennis, if you could please come up here. Thank you.
So, my name is Dennis Ryan, and like a lot of these guys here, I was inspired to be a teacher by teachers. I think being a teacher was always something I had in the back of my head as something I would probably end up doing at some point. But I think when I really decided, hey, I want to be a teacher, was my sophomore year of high school here at Everett High. These two guys right here, Mr. Opendasando and Mr. Bailey. Think of these guys right here, two of the best educators I've ever had in my entire life. Through good times, through bad times in my life, these two right here have helped me through everything, and I'm honestly proud to say that I was a student of both of you. They both helped many people just like me and multiple people throughout this school, many people in this line right here. And because of these two, because of all that they did for me and all they did for so many kids, I was inspired to become a teacher, hopefully right here at Everett High School. These guys have done a lot. They've dedicated much of their lives and much of their time and energy to these kids here, and I hope that one day I could be just like them. So, thank you.
Again, I want to thank the students. I appreciate it. I know it's tough to get up here and speak like that, so thank you. I know the one common theme, and Dennis, you said it so well, the reason you want to be a teacher is because of the teachers in your classroom. So many of you want to give back, and I think that was a common theme because of what teachers have done for you in your life. So that is absolutely awesome. So thank you for that. It certainly has inspired and motivated all of us as educators. Now, similar to what we do with the Division I sign-in piece, they're going to sign a letter of, I wouldn't say it's like Division I where you have to go to that school, but certainly a letter to commit to education. And I just want to read the letter that they will be signing. By signing this letter, I eagerly acknowledge that at this time, I intend to pursue a career in the field of education by attending Bunker Hill Community College, whatever college you chose. The importance of quality of the importance of quality educators in our nation's schools cannot be understated. I recognize that in my future role as a teacher, I have both the opportunity and responsibility to positively impact students' lives in intellectual development and to help each student find success. It is for these reasons that I am enthusiastically committed to becoming an educator. So now if the students present here today could sign this letter as a symbol of their commitment to education, we greatly appreciate it.
Mr. Shaw.
Now, at this time, I'd like to call up someone who's a mentor to me as an administrator, and I know he has positively impacted multitudes of students and educators throughout the district and in Everett. Mr. Shaw, our Assistant Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. On behalf of Mrs. Gauthier, who's the Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Obremski, who's the other Assistant Superintendent of Schools, I'd like to express that we couldn't be more proud of these students that are sitting in front of you today. To be products of the Everett Public School System, to have inspirational teachers. We couldn't be prouder of our staff here in the Everett Public Schools, but to be inspired by the staff that we have here, so much so that you want to go into that profession to inspire other future teachers after that is just, to me, it's one of the most rewarding things that I can hear today. I'm a product of the Everett Public Schools. I became principal of the Lafayette School. I went to the Lafayette School when I was a kid. I was a guidance counselor at the Powell End School. I went to the Powell End School as a kid. I was a teacher at Old Everett High School, and I went to Old Everett High School. I can't tell you, you guys, when you finish college and you get your certification, come back. 4 years from now, I should still be here, I hope. All right? Come back and see me. We'd love to have you come back in. We're very proud of all of you. You're entering a profession that is extremely, extremely rewarding. I can tell you that in all my jobs that I've had, and I've been started teaching way back in 1985. I started teaching. That's when I got my first teaching job. The hardest, and I was a teacher, I've been a vice principal, I've been a guidance counselor, I've been a principal, and now assistant superintendent. And the hardest transition I've ever had in all those jobs that I had was the one I have right now. Because for my entire career, I went to work in a building, and there were students in the building, there were teachers in the building, and it was alive and it was vibrant. Now I go to work in a building where there's 25 adults every day. Not so alive and vibrant anymore. So when you get your job, teach the kids, love the kids. I'm sure you will. You guys are an inspiration listening to you today. Your stories are inspiring. I'm very, very proud of all of you. You've done a great job. Continue that, and please come back and help the students in Everett. Thank you.
Well, those are certainly great words from Mr. Shaw. I didn't want to say it, but that sounds like you guys have a job in 4 years. And our track record is outstanding. As I said, well over 3 dozen of our staff are from Everett. We invest always in the future, so your future is nothing but bright. And ours certainly is bright with you in the classroom. So congratulations. I thank you. And my other favorite group of students is the culinary arts. As you can tell, I enjoy probably a little too much here at the culinary arts, but there's food that they have prepared for you. But thank you for coming. This will be the first of many.
Before we go anywhere, if we can have all the current staff stand behind all the students, and we'll take a picture. Okay?
Thank you, and everybody can begin. Thank you.
Teachers, staff, guidance counselors, teachers, staff members.